what we're going to do is we are going to continue talking about Kontakt here, and we're going to focus specifically on the mapping editor, the wave editor, and the sampler engine are the three main things we're going to talk about. Kontakt is kind of like Reactor. You can go as deep as you want. You can get super, super crazy with it. But what we're going to be discussing right now is just kind of the basics of Kontakt and how it works. So the mapping editor and the wave editor are different windows in Kontakt. There's a couple different windows that we can see in Kontakt when we drag a sample in. Let me go ahead and look at this first window here. This is the kind of instrument window, and there's a couple things we're looking at in here. First of all, it tells you the name of the sample that you dropped in. It has a solo button, a mute button if you have multiple of these things in here. It's got your output here. It's got your MIDI channel you're using, how many voices you're currently playing, what your maximum is here. You can purge the sample out, which means get it out of the memory, and then it shows you how much memory you're taking up right now. You can click on this little eye button or the snapshot button to load snapshots. Snapshots just change any kind of controls that you have on the face of this sample instrument. You can get rid of the sample instrument with the X here, and then you can hit the minus button to make this smaller, and you can hit the aux button to show your aux sends for it. You've got a tuning button for the overall everything that's in there, and then there you go. And then you got panning left and right here. You can hold down Command and click it to put it back to 0, and you got your level here, and you can hold down Command and put it back to its default setting as well. This is just the outside of things. If you load up more of these, like let's say that I load up a different sample in here, for example, this one, and I drop it in, it's going to put another sample in here. And the main thing to keep in mind about this is if you're making one instrument, like a drum kit or something with all your samples, you could do it just in one of these. You don't need to have multiple of these things. If you do want to have multiple instruments to make what they call a multi, which is a multi-instrument, you can have them be set to different MIDI channels, and you can see that when I drag this other sample in here, it automatically set it to a different MIDI channel. I can go ahead and put this back to MIDI channel 1, or I can have it on a completely different MIDI channel, and it's really up to you how you're going to use it and like how you're going to deal with it like this. I don't usually set up multis in Kontakt. It's just something I never really got into doing, so I don't really do it like this. I don't really use Kontakt like this. I usually just keep one instrument in here at a time. If Kontakt itself is not super heavy on your computer's CPU, so you can have a whole bunch of Kontakt instruments open and working, and it works really well. So really up to you how you want to use it and what you're trying to do with it. I personally think that Kontakt is the kind of easiest of the pro level samplers that are out there. It's very easy to use. I've also used Falcon a little bit, and Falcon's also pretty cool. It comes with Pro Tools, so if all you have is Pro Tools, Falcon is good to look into as well. But they just started shipping it with Pro Tools about a year ago. It's fairly new, but there are some cool things you can do with it. It's also very, very powerful. There's also Mach 5, which may have become Falcon. I'm not sure, to be honest. Actually, I'm not sure what happened to Mach 5, if it's still a thing that you can buy or not. But a lot of people use Kontakt. It comes with Complete. So if you buy Complete, you get Kontakt as part of the package. So yeah, there you go. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at what opens up as soon as you drag a sample into Kontakt is you've got your engine right here, the sampling engine. Then you've got some effects here. You've got some send effects, and you've got your main instrument effects. And then down here, you've got some modulation. One modulation source automatically pops up, and this is your amplifier. And so remember what I said in the beginning, that it's really important that you understand synthesizers in order to understand sampling, because synthesizers and samplers both have basically an oscillator. They both have amplifier. They both have filters. They both have modulation sources, destinations, all that stuff. And then how you use them is, depends on the sampler that you're using, but they all have that stuff. So in this case here, this envelope is for our amplifier. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and just turn this release down because I don't need that release to be so high. So here's my voice. Sounds amazing. We've already got this in here. We already set up the loop and stuff like that using the wave editor over here. So what we're going to talk about is what's going on here. First of all, we've got the two editors. We've got the mapping editor and the wave editor. We can have them both open at the same time. You've got other editors in here as well. You got instrument options, which is kind of like a preferences pane that comes up. You've got the group editor for different groups. If you are doing really big instruments, you might want to use different groups. Then you've got your mapping editor, and this is where you do your key zone mapping and your velocity zone mapping. And you can also set up your different groups and stuff like that. And you can see what all is going on in here. So if we look at a more complicated instrument, like the piano that we had before, let's grab, yeah, this is my vocal here. What's this one here? This is, what are you? You're nothing. Okay, so we're going to open up the browser, and if I grab, let's go look at action strings. This one's going to be pretty crazy. So action strings in here is made by Native Instruments, or at least it's you know, it's part of the complete package that comes with Native Instruments. And basically in here, if I click on my wrench, first of all, we can see the outside looks completely different. These outsides can look like whatever you want. If I play it, let me go ahead and close my browser down. If I play it, it's playing back samples of these strings here, and I can change what... I can change what we're playing here by either clicking on a key down here, and that's what these represent, or I can click on this right here. I can change my sound, stuff like that, and all these different things that we can click on here to like kind of to perform this. And this is all built into the instrument itself. And as I said, you can get as complicated as this as you want, but you don't, this is like more if you're just playing stuff back. You don't need to be a person who builds these things here. But if we look at the inside, the guts of this, we go into our mapping editor, we can see there's a whole bunch of different samples that are being played back here. And if we go into our group editor, we can click on these. We can see different mappings, just like when we were looking at our piano earlier. Oops. And we can see there's like there's a lot more groups going on in here. There's tons and tons and tons of these different groups all over the place. So that's really what the group editor allows us to do, like click around on these different groups. And the mapping editor is showing us where we're mapped on the keyboard. And then the wave editor shows us the actual individual samples. So if I close this down, this one here, let's click on this right there. Now we can see our wave editor is down here. I don't even know how what this one's going to sound like. We can play it. There you go. It's them performing different rhythms and stuff like that. So it sounds very realistic because it's actually people performing these different rhythms. So that's what's going on here with this. Let me show you something a little bit less complicated. Let's go back over here to this one. And this is me singing, I guess. La. Yeah, this is me singing. So it's only one sample in here, and it's just this one right here. La. And that's in our wave editor. The wave editor is where you actually adjust your start point, your end point, and all that stuff. You can set up your loops and that stuff in there. So that's what the wave editor is for. The mapping editor is actually mapping it to the keyboard. That's what it's, a mapping editor. It's mapping it to the keyboard. So let's turn both of these off and go over here to our source. The source is how the sample is loaded up and like what kind of sampler engine you're actually using. There's a few different ones, a few different types that we can load up here. First of all, we've got DFD. DFD stands for Direct from Disk. This is a really cool thing that was started back in the early 2000s. Basically what this does is it loads big sample libraries into your RAM and then plays it from the hard drive as well, because these giant libraries might be several gigabytes. And so, for example, my MacBook Air that I have here is only 16 gigs, which is really not much for playing back. If I want a whole bunch of different like orchestral sounds and stuff like that, 16 gigs is really not enough for that type of stuff. So what I can do is I can actually load in a little piece of each sample into the RAM, this very first part of each sample. And so when I play the key, it's going to initially play it from RAM, and then it's going to flip over to playing it from my hard drive. Now, this is why you want to have a hard drive that's actually really fast with a fast connection to your computer, because otherwise it's going to slow things down too much when it's playing it back from your hard drive. And this is a way, it's essentially just a way so you can have less amounts of RAM, but be able to play these big giant instruments. So for the most realistic sound possible, you want to sample for every key. We saw that with the Alicia's Keys piano. That thing has, you know, tons and tons of samples in it. So it's, you know, that might be a 10 gigabyte library. You know, most people don't have enough RAM to play that back from the RAM, so they can load it up into their hard drive and have it be DFD, which is direct from disk. Some other options that we have in here is the regular sampler one. The sampler one loads it into your RAM, and it's just in there, it's just in the RAM. But see, you can see here the memory changes. If I change it to DFD, it's 105 kilobytes versus sampler, which is only like about half of a megabyte. We definitely don't need to have a sample like this loaded to be playing DFD. So for this one here, it would be much easier for it just to be in sampler mode. And then we also have Wavetable, which is kind of a newer one for Kontakt. And we can see if I play this back, well, it's like this weird phase. Like, I actually don't ever really use this one for stuff. Huh, that's interesting. That's pretty annoying. But you could use it for Wavetable stuff, which is a totally different thing. It's like a whole nother ball game. But the ones we really want to focus on down here are the Tone Machine, really Tone Machine, Time Machine Pro, Beat Machine, and these down here are kind of interesting. The main ones that you really want to focus on really would be Sampler, Time Machine Pro, and Beat Machine. Sampler is just, if we equate this to warp modes with Ableton Live or Pro Tools, which is basically what they are. Sampler is your repitch in Ableton Live, which plays it back like a normal sampler. And then you've got Time Machine Pro, which is like kind of like complex. And then you've got Beat Machine, which is like rhythmic mode in Ableton Live, so, or beats mode in Ableton Live. So if we go in here to our sample down here, like this one here, we want it to be in beats mode, the warps mode, right? But we could put it into complex or complex pro. Complex mode or complex pro is very similar to Time Machine Pro. And this is, it's more processor intensive, but it sounds much better for stuff. So for example, if I drag in my sample of me talking, me saying my voice. Hi, my name is Tony. Oh, hey, oh, you changed it. So let me change this over to complex. There we go. Hi, my name is Tony. Okay, so we sped it up from when I did it before. And let's go ahead and throw this into Kontakt in here. I'm going to go ahead and put a Kontakt instrument in here, like right here. I'm going to drag the sample in here, and we can hear what the Complex Pro, or the Time Machine Pro rather, does. This was one. This is one.
Hi, my name is Tony.
Hi, my name is Tony. So there we are at our original pitch. It's our root note. Remember the root note? Hi, my name is Tony. Hi, my name is Tony. Hi, my name is Tony. If I play it in sampler mode, remember what happened before? Hi, my name is
Tony.
Right? We go down.
Hi, my name is Tony.
It's slowing it down, it's pitching it down, everything, right? But let's say I want it to stay at the same speed, but I want to play it at different pitches. I can put it in Time Machine Pro. Hi, my name is Tony.
Hi, my name is Tony. Hi, my name is Tony.
And you can hear.
Hi, my name is Tony.
Hi, my name is Tony.
Hi, my name is Tony.
It's at the same tempo, but it's playing it at a higher pitch. Hi, my name is Tony.
Hi, my name is Tony. Hi, my name is Tony.
Hi, my name is Tony. Hi, my name is Tony.
Now you can also hear though that it doesn't sound exactly 100% natural anymore. You can hear some little artifacts in there because it's actually doing a lot of work to make it be the same speed. inversely, we can also adjust the speed without changing the pitch. So I can,
Hi, my name is
there's
Tony.
my original one. I can slow it way down.
Hi, my name is Tony.
And you can hear it sounds actually pretty darn good.
Hi, my name is Tony. 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 Hi, my name is Tony.
Right, yeah, it is a really cool effect. And you can actually map this to your, here, hold on, let's do this. We could map this to a knob. No, not like, hold on a second. Ugh, I always forget that the knobs, it doesn't love doing it like that. Hold on a second, let's automation, okay, let's do it like this. Drag you over here to this, and now go down here. And map configure you. Hold on a second. Now we can, there we go. There we go. So now, much better. So I can,
Hi, my name is Tony. Hi, my name is Tony.
right? So you can do some stuff like that. You can sit there and mess with the thing. Yeah, it is a very cool effect, Monique. I totally agree. All right, so that's basically your sampling engine allows you access to these different things. If you're having a drum beat, it's good to have this in here. Let's drag a drum beat in here, and let's grab a different drum beat actually than the one we were using before. Hip hop samples. Go in here to our loops. Let's grab a guitar actually. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I'm gonna actually grab a drum beat. Okay, that one's pretty cool. Here. Let's get rid of Hi, my name is Tony. And drag Urgent Kick in here. So with Urgent Kick in here, I can play. Gonna change this. There we go. Okay. So what I want to do with this is with the here, I'm gonna put this into Beat Machine. Now, if I adjust the speed, yeah, it changes things. Yeah, Monique, this is awesome for playing out live sets and stuff like that. Yes, I agree to a point, but wait until Wednesday when we talk about all this stuff again in Ableton Live, because Ableton Live allows you to do some of this stuff, I would say a little bit easier for DJing and like live performance stuff, although you want to use a combination of the two. So this is great, but live allows you a little bit of a different type of control, and I find it to be a little bit easier than dealing with stuff inside of Kontakt. So we can speed it up. All right, that sounds pretty good there. And we can go into our wave editor and we can see how it's chopped things up in here. It's chopped them up by the 16th note. Actually, I'm going to use auto to chop things up a little bit differently. And this is actually very similar to how live does its transients and stuff. I'm just going to zoom in and let's get rid of some of these here. Whoops, hey, wave editor, come back. And I can go in here and say, let's drop the sensitivity down. Let's see what that did it. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, there we go. Cool. So I can use this grid here and go back over here to the Beat Machine here. And Beat Machine is very similar to how Beats Mode works in Ableton Live. And I think it's a little bit easier to use Beats Mode in Ableton Live than it is to use this, but it's very, very similar here. So we can see that this thing here gives us a grid. What's the relationship between pitch and BPM? Well, the pitch, if you speed up the, if you raise the pitch, it's going to speed up the BPM, and if you slow down, if you lower the pitch, it's going to slow down the BPM. That's what the relationship is. So if I play like now, because I've got Beat Machine turned on, if I play different pitches, there's my original pitch on my root key, right? But if I play up higher, it's going to raise the pitch of the drums, but because I'm in this beat machine mode, it actually keeps it, there we go. It keeps it in the same tempo. And you can hear it does a pretty good job. It's actually, I don't know if it still is, but it used to be the same engine that Ableton Live. There's a company called Elastique that made the engine for all this stuff, and the engine was called Elastique or something like that. But basically, it was the same engine between the Native Instruments and Ableton Live. Used the same engine. The way they implemented it was a slightly different, so it's a slightly different sound. But oh, is there a rule for how many BPMs the semitone is? Yes. I don't know what it is, but yes, there is. Just like there's a rule for what frequency a pitch is, like A that we tune to, the A, middle A is A440, 440 hertz. That means C is going to be 452 or 468 or something like that. But I do not keep those numbers in my head because honestly, I never think about it like that. But if we wanted to go look at it, let's see here. BPM to semitone ratio equation, maybe? Pitch to BPM inertia. There you go. If you want to, here's a general formula, pitch up from 0 to N. There you go, there it is, right there. Looking at this makes my head hurt, so I'm gonna turn it off. But you saw what I did to search for it. Yes. Music calculator. Here we go. This is probably a little bit less mathy. Enter the value. Oh, this is actually really cool here. A BPM conversion. So if we wanted to do, let's say 110 BPMs, here's everything you need to know in milliseconds, seconds, note, octave, cents, hertz, kilohertz, for like LFOs and stuff like that. There you go. Delay timing. Cool. Dotted triplets. Oh, this is a nice little. There you go. Yeah, this is a cool website right here. Better than the other website, but yeah, like seriously, I never like I just do this with yeah. I don't know. The thing is, with everything we've got technology-wise these days, if you're working on music, I'll just hit the sync button in my DAW, and if I want to make it a little bit off, I'll just like unsync it and I'll just turn the knob a little bit. I try not to get too involved with the numbers personally because that disconnects me. It suddenly like throws off my creative process a little bit. So anyway, going back to this here. So here's our pitch. I can pitch it down. Right, it's gonna stay at the same pitch if I hit high. Hey, stop. If I hit here, hit play on this. Now it's gonna be pretty good. 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's at 90 BPM still. Hold on, let's change. Oops, no, keep that at 90. And then if we want to change this, let's put it at 100. Let's see what happens. I don't know if it works like this actually. Hold on. No, this is 90. Whoops. But the sync part here, might want to turn this on, and then, so this is a really cool thing. Sync to MIDI clock. Here we go. Use Beat Machine. There we go. Sync. So now, there we go. If I want to sync it to what's going on with my tempo, there we go. Now it's synced up with my tempo, and I can play it at different. which is actually really, really cool to do something like that. Is really neat. The thing is, Ableton Live does this internally with Simpler, so we don't need to use Kontakt to do this kind of stuff. And that's kind of going back to what Monique said earlier about using this for playing live sets and stuff like that. Yes, it is really cool, but there's actually things that come with Ableton Live that allow us to do this anyways. And we'll be talking about that on Wednesday. So, but I'm just playing different notes on my keyboard to play this here. And what I did was I just went down here to my sync tab here, and I use Beat Machine to sync it up. And so it lets us know what it is. So this is a really cool thing that we can do with Kontakt here. I like this a lot, but there's another thing I want to show you in here that I like a lot, but let's just finish talking about this, not the group editor, this Beat Machine here. So in here, there's also S1200 and SMP60 machine. These are, again, different sample engines for this stuff. What these are doing, the S1200 and MP60, are emulating the bit depth and sample rate and stuff like that of the old MPC60 and the SP1200, so you can kind of emulate that old school hip hop sound. The problem that you're going to run into, though, is that in order to emulate that old school hip hop sound, it's not just about grabbing the same sample that somebody used in the past. It's about grabbing the sample that they used from the source that they got it from. Meaning, if you wanted to go back and like recreate like an NWA song, for example, well, remember that Dr. Dre, when he was making those songs, when he was producing those beats, he wasn't just grabbing a CD and sampling from a CD, a perfect digital clone from the master. He was sampling from records that he had used a whole bunch of times. If you're a fan of like Uncle, for example, or DJ Shadow, any of these guys, Q-Burn or Q-Tip or any of these like not Q-Tip, what's his name? I can't remember his name off the top of it. There's a dude like did a lot of remixes in the 90s and stuff like that. Some really, really cool dudes. Ninja Tune, any of those dudes. If you wanted to sample like how they're sampling it, remember, they're using records that they played a lot. Like hundreds or thousands of times. They played them at gigs, they played them for their friends, they played them for themselves before they sampled from them. And they got records, like I know like DJ Shadow, for example, he would go record shopping all day long and grab old used records that people have played hundreds or thousands of times. And when you play a record that many times, remember the records, the way they work, it's actually a physical groove with a waveform in the record. It's not something that's reading something. It's actually a needle that's inside of a groove, and the groove has the music printed on it, which is insane to think about. Like, it's more insane to think about ones and zeros that make music, but it's also crazy to think about how record players actually play back music. So they would grab the stuff, and what would happen is that every time you play the record, it's going to slightly wear that groove down. It's going to slightly wear down the waveform. So it's going to change the sound. The sounds are going to be more like what's the word? They're going to just sound used, I guess, for lack of a better term. So in order to recreate these old songs, it's not just about going and grabbing the sample. Like, you can't just download the MP3 and grab the sample and it sounds exactly the same. You also have to find like an old record that had been played a whole bunch of times and sample from that. Another part of it is you'd have to find the same needle. You also have to remember that they were, especially back in the 80s, like NWA, those dudes, they were working with machines that had a very limited amount of sample time. Remember back to the beginning of this lesson when we talked about the RAM and how expensive RAM was. So the way they were sampling it, the techniques they used is they would speed the sample up a whole lot to sample that sound. They would record that, sped up, then they would slow it back down in order to save their sample time, the memory on their machines. And doing that changes the sound of the sample. So it's not just about, my point is, that it's not just about throwing in this S1200 machine or MP60 machine and it's going to suddenly sound old and crunchy. It's like about doing all this stuff, plus of course recording it through a console onto tape, all these things. There's so much that goes into it. So My point really is that these are great. They're really interesting, but it's not going to be instant old gritty magic. There's a lot more to it that you'd have to a lot more hoops that you have to jump through. These other ones, Tone Machine, Time Machine, Time Machine 2, they just don't sound that great. So for example, here if we here's this. Let's put this into Tone Machine. It sounds weird. It sounds cool. Right? It sounds neat. But it doesn't sound natural at all. Time Machine 2 sounds better. But it's the same engines that we have. Like basically it's a similar sound to like Ableton Live if you put it into tones and stuff like that. And then they've got Time Machine 2, which sounds better. So if I play, but it doesn't sound amazing. And if we put it in Time Machine Pro, it'll sound really good. Let me put this back to 0. And go ahead and slow this down. Right, but it doesn't sound perfect. And then if we put it into Beats mode, it sounds almost perfect. Beat Machine. Because of the way Beats mode works. And it's the same way that it works in Ableton Live. It's exactly the same way. So you got these different modes. So depending on what sound you're going for, I definitely recommend that you would check these out and experiment with them. But keep in mind, some of them are going to sound more natural than others. But maybe you don't want to have that natural sound, which is awesome. I would say not going for the natural sound is the way to go. Hi, Luna. My dog just came back. Hi, pups. Were you exploring? Were you exploring, babes? Here, come here. Oh, you don't want to come here. You just want to be in the room with me. All right, fine. All right. So, here. Yeah, babes. Yeah. Oh, now she wants to go back outside. She doesn't want to be trapped in any one room is what it is. Hi, pups. Hi, pups. Here, play with that. There we go. I think that is a good overview of Kontakt. Now, one thing you may have noticed that I didn't talk about much is the script editor here. The script editor is for scripting. It's a language. It's like a programming language in here, so you can actually make things work in certain ways and do different scripts. And that's how they make something look like this over here. Where is it? The action strings. It's how they make it look like this. Is through action scripts and stuff. And if we go look at these scripts in here, go to the script editor in here, we can see, wait, where's the edit button? There's the edit button. Boop. Password. Oh, I can't look at it. Ha ha ha. Well, here, let's look at a more basic script. Here, I go in here to preset. Let's grab a preset here. She's like, you're not paying attention to me. You're just like, whatever. Okay, so I go in here. Let's put an arpeggiator in here. Boom. Here's an arpeggiator. And then what we can do is we can hit the edit button and we can go look at what the arpeggiator actually looks like. It actually looks like this right here. So if you are a computer editor, you'll be like, hey, cool, I recognize this stuff, kind of. But if you are a musician, you'll be like, oh my God, please do not show me that at all, for the love of God. Please don't show it to me. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We're not going to, basically what I'm saying is we're not going to talk about the script editor. Cool. And I think that is a good stopping point for us because now it is noon for y'all. So let's do this. Let me go ahead and stop my recording.